Welcome to State of Consciousness Podcast with your hosts Gabriela Fernandez and Riue, along with various other community collaborators who will take you on a journey to explore through their individual offerings and services how they are contributing to the greater shift on the planet. If you are interested in how you can both experience and become a part of this energy, sit back and give a listen as we are all one.
Welcome, everyone, to the very first episode of our State of Consciousness podcast of 2025. We are absolutely thrilled to be back and to be reflecting. We're thrilled to be reflecting on such an incredible year behind us and looking forward to this new year with joy, gratitude, and so much hope. So we're just going to kick it off and start talking about some of the wonderful things that went on last year and just move into some of the things we're excited for this year. So yeah.
Wasn't it so funny how we went into last year and we were kind of like, well, we want to make sure that we don't overwhelm ourselves, and I need to give myself some space for finishing up my PhD. And I was teaching a lot, and you had a lot going on with your job, taking on more responsibilities, and then getting married, and all of that, and all of your many, many projects. Because see, like a lot of people don't realize you're just as busy as I am, right? And so, yeah, and then because we try to be, we try to let ourselves be divinely guided, things just happened, didn't they, Gabby?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a matter of taking each day at a time, week at a time, and there's so many invitations that come up, and sometimes having to joyfully accept some, and then sometimes having to choose which ones we can't take on because there's not enough bandwidth for it all. But we still did so much.
We still did so much. And that's something that we wanted to be able to express to the community too, that, we've had the opportunity to have so many people reach out to us and want to do like some collaborative work. And it's not that we have not wanted to, it's that we can't do everything. And sometimes it becomes the timing of, maybe not now, but maybe later. So we don't want folks to not reach out. But, we have recognized now that all of this, I guess, energy and love and compassion and everything else that we've been pouring into this, very purposefully, it's like down here, and we had such an incredible year last year. It was huge, with our PDC cohort. We had another really, really, really nice cohort that came through. And I just, our collaborators, they're just, you know, we're all one in one, that's just the support that we have that way, and having um being able to work with people who you're just so aligned with, and we could not have gone out and found and just selected those folks. It was all so divinely guided, each and every relationship. And these are all relationships that are just continuing to go on and on and on and on, so them being added to our program, that energy was just wonderful. And these PDCs just keep, it's almost like each cohort has its own unique personality, and they're all different. But the things continue to expand and they continue to get deeper. So I was, and you got a chance to come up here, for some of those too, and um, it's just a wonderful time. We changed the format, of course, I wanted to make sure we noted that we got an incredible amount of positive feedback in the changing of the format. I think it gave us a little more breathing room, um, making it a monthly type, Friday through Sunday. And what a lot of the folks were saying is it gave them some time to really process and get excited for the next month, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And a chance to see the land and apply their learning to various seasons as opposed
Hmm.
to just jam packing it all into maybe one main season. That was
Yeah,
really, we
yeah.
had some great
And
feedback about
and and there was actually a request, we ran it through I guess the beginning of fall, but folks were really wanted it to extend through the winter time because they recognize that there's so much going on, just as much going on
that.
in the
Uh-huh.
winter time.
Even under the soil, underneath it all. Yeah.
Hmm.
That was some cool feedback to
Hmm.
get for our future
Hmm.
person program
Yeah,
courses. Yeah.
absolutely.
So
And
cool.
then I think the children's program just knocked our socks off.
Hmm.
I was talking to somebody about that the other day, because we've all along said how, you know, children are just so connected. They're so connected to nature and they just absorb it as a sponge. And one of the things that you and I went back and forth on, okay, where do we start, as a pilot? What age group are we going to be giving them too much? Are they going to really be able to take it in? And to see these 5-year olds out there foraging and then being able to come back and tell you like the name of the plant, what its characteristics were, what it was used for. And then when you remember, we had that exercise where we asked them to um, draw what the plant looked like and felt like and mean to them. They had a complete story.
Yeah. It's so beautiful to see their little minds just exploring and taking a plant and a little bit of knowledge we give to them and let it go and
Hmm. It
run
was
wild.
pretty incredible to observe that, and the feedback that we got from the parents was, that their most favorite part of the art, children's, and healing piece of it was when they were actually interacting with the plants. Which you might have expected, although they really enjoyed the drum circle and things like that, and because they're attached to those frequencies and sounds, but it actually gives them a physical activity. The plant piece was the thing that was the resounding thing that they were the most interested in, and being out there in nature and, you know, identifying the plants, and they could feel the energy and things in the plants. So that blew my socks off.
Mhm.
That just, the whole children's program just really blew my socks off. And, between, part of what we were thinking was, what were we thinking trying to have the full PDC and roll out a children's program at the same time? That 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 was a feat, Gabby.
Mhm.
you know, that,
Yeah.
that was really big feat. And then what else did we decide to do? Hmm? What else did we decide to do? Oh, we weren't going to really have a festival.
We'll keep it small this year.
What happened? What? I mean,
We'll make it a collaborative event.
it's like, I mean, I look back on it, and it's almost absolutely crazy what we did, but it just flowed.
Yeah, I
It
know
was a
that one.
huge effort.
Absolutely. If we didn't have the support from the collaborators, the volunteers, the community partners, everyone, I don't know how we would have done that, because
No.
that was huge. And
And
that
people
was,
were saying they were like asking us like, how did you guys have time to put this together? And with as busy as both of you are, you already had the PDC and the children's program. Like, how did that happen? Well, you have to chalk it up to the fact that we've got more things that are supporting than what people can sometimes see. I mean, that's the reality of it. And to your point, in the physical realm, the folks that showed up to be collaborative partners, and we our partners went down from Middletown to Wilmington, and these were all organizations and centers that had their own big thing going, you know? But we came together and it was like similar energy and it just flowed.
yeah, that was such a great event. I'm excited
Hmm.
to bring it back this year in a
Yeah.
different way. And the workshops, we had such wonderful workshops and
Hmm.
demos and programs for the kids, programs for artistic expression. There's just so much it packed into one weekend. And
Yeah.
I forget the food and
The
the,
food, yeah,
the honey,
the
the
honey and
medicinal.
what was it, the waffles. Oh, we have to talk about the waffles, okay?
Oh, the
Because
flower.
that was a total experiment for you and I. And people don't, they love those waffles, but they had no idea what had to happen behind the scenes for that perfection to occur. you were you were up there getting the waffle mix
Iron.
perfected enough so that it didn't like stick all over everything. But yeah, and that was our food to medicine there. You had the elderflower syrup that was being used on it. Those were vegan waffles, and they were really, really folks really like those.
They were a
You know,
huge hit.
hmm
Absolutely. Folks
and
are
I think we
requesting
had the
it.
stinging that old vegetable soup too. What
Yeah.
else did we make?
We made the iconic vegan chili.
Oh yes, the vegan chili that people could have as nachos
Taco.
uh or tacos. Yeah, so that was wonderful.
Your
And then
famous apple cider, of course.
oh yes, the apple
And
cider.
the cacao, ooh, the medicinal
Ah,
cacao with the panorama cacao and some ginger and cinnamon. Ooh, it's making my mouth water right now.
I know, I know. Do you guys still have some powder? Do you need some more sent down there?
We just
Because
might. We might need a
okay,
little more. I'm
okay.
running low.
Okay, yeah,
That
because we just got another order of it too, so I can send some down. Um, but yeah, and then we had a lot of, we had some plants being sold from our nursery. We did the seed swap, the folks got some really good seeds from that. It was just like all this stuff was packed in. Like you said, we had those wonderful workshops, with Trevor Pruitt, that people love that workshop. We had who was the tie-dye? Benji did the tie-dye workshop. A lot of people were talking about that. Crystal Foreman with the cooking demonstration. And then all the workshops that happened down in the healing cottage, um,
we had Kim Lucas with her art
or,
and wreath making for the
yeah,
kids. It was
oh
great.
yeah. And so that we kind of came together, didn't we, afterwards, and we were talking about how we were gonna maybe tweak it a little bit. Uh, next year so that we're also not so exhausted too, because we did the kickoff of the drum circle on Friday and then went into our big weekend. And so there was a suggestion that we actually just start on that Saturday and have the drum circle within those 2 days, and I think that that's a fabulous idea too, because, there's a lot of prep that goes on. We didn't really have that Friday to do really prep because we're trying to get ready for, the drum circle that evening, which is a nice way to kind of kick it off. But um, we had so many things that a lot of people were like, I wanted to get around to have, to be able to participate in more things between the centers because there was so much being offered. But, you just have to plan your schedule.
Mhm.
We're just putting it out there. But yeah, I mean, in retrospect, I was looking at what that morphed into, and I thought that was not just us. There was some energy behind all of that. And
And
we have,
it's taken years too in the making. These are
mhm,
seeds that we've been planting for years
yes, yes,
between the
um,
collaborations and all the different activities and all the elements involved. Just, maybe one year we had one piece of it, another year we had
mhm,
another piece, but it's taken a while. And last year we really got to see the fruits of all of that coming to
mhm.
fruition. That was really, really rewarding and beautiful.
It's almost like it's the same energy that this space has taken relative to the food forest and the bees coming. And now, of course, we'll talk a little bit about the other little things that are coming. But, you know, um, oftentimes when people have met us for the first time and they see all this, to your point, they don't realize that what are we been open now for 11 or 10 years, 11 or 12 years. I
Yeah.
think it's been 11 or 12 years,
Yeah.
which that in itself is a big feat for the nature of what we're doing, right?
Absolutely.
But we would continue to evolve and continue to grow through listening,
Mhm.
because we may have had a plan, and in most cases each year the plan wasn't exactly as planned because other messages were coming through for us, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we had that, and we also got in some really nice shamanic Merkaba flow. All of our Merkaba flow events were full, were
Highly, yeah.
full. I think the largest group that we had one time was 23 people,
Wow.
which on average we like to keep it around 15 because
Mhm.
it's comfortable, but we don't like to turn anybody away. But, in each of our events, uh, and doing the cacao ceremony, which we probably do that a little more open than most do because we want folks to be able to have their individual as well as collective experiences. So that's been a nice way to be able to do a summation of the healing work offering and get to more people. And we're, of course, going to continue to do that. Um, and I was just always so filled up after that. And I know when you came up to do the, with the cacao ceremony, that was even one more wonderful, because I think you came up for half of that.
Mhm.
So that, is going to be something that we will be continuing to do as well. And I'm just thinking about some of the, these were the big things that we did, but there was, I think we did like a Earth Day. Also, we had an Earth Day in there. We also did an MLK Day last year because we
Yeah.
did a lot of partnering with the students at Goldie Beacom. We had a couple students from uh, the University of Delaware come. Um, we had our internship program to kick off the identification of all the plants, and develop that database. So these were like these were some of the things that we were doing in between all the other stuff that was going on.
Yeah.
Because now we have built the foundation to be able to do all these things here. So right now, I guess initially we were spending more time trying to get certain things in place. And now we've gotten the foundation of these things in place that we can then co-create from that foundation. And I think that's why everything just seems to be just going,
Flowing
right now, you know.
here. And the not to mention the infrastructure changes too going on within the homestead, within the farmstead. So the
Mm-hmm,
greenhouse has
mm-hmm.
all new shelving and the water. What is it again?
The geothermal that we did, that
Yes.
was a successful
Right.
experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that kept the greenhouse on even in the coldest of times, like close to 30 degrees in there.
Wow.
And we took those out this year so we could allow for now growing space, because now we're yeah, mentioning that, Gabby, just the idea of getting used to the things that we have been given, and learning how to not only we've all been growing outside from day one, that's kind of where we started. And then learning how to grow in the greenhouse, then learning how to use the indoor lighting to grow seedlings. And then this year we're really connecting it all together so that we can get the full benefit. But we propagated like 200 to 300 plants last year. We sold half of them, and we over propagated intentionally so that we were able to um have like second year plants coming in this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's all those ones that we've been posting up there. I'm saying, folks, these are our second year plants, and we have new ones we're propagating, right? So
Yeah.
we had to learn how to work with the things that we had been given. And in this permaculture space, we're growing and doing so much relative to folks who are like in more traditional spaces, right? And that's been part of our education process. And then, the chicken run,
Yeah.
getting the regular chicken house built, and then actually uh, designing and building a run to really make them feel comfortable and safe. So we pretty much have completed that project so that we're ready to welcome them, which is I'm totally amazed with that. And we have put in the foundational post for the outside composting toilet, the outside shower, and the outside cooking area. And this is probably a good segue going into the things that we're going to be doing this year, because we have 4 co-facilitators who've all offered to lead those projects. So it'll give people an opportunity to participate in learning. Um, we're going to be doing a lot of additional mushroom log inoculations. Right now, we are successfully um, having flushes and harvesting, being able to harvest 3 different types of mushrooms, which we will be selling in our, nursery market this year, right? So they're spreading around all over the place. Yellow oyster mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms, and king Schifferia.
Mm-hmm.
And
Nice.
they're fairly abundant,
Yeah, I bet.
you know.
And that's a cool so reminder that this year we're skipping the in-person permaculture course, the 90 plus hour permaculture design certification, And instead, we're trying out an online education platform, which we'll have much more information about in the coming weeks. But kind of an online permaculture course with broken out mini courses based on the various topics and chapters of the book that we do for our big program. And then it'll also allow opportunities for these in-person maybe workshops or little one-offs with collaborators and a chance to put some of that online education to work in hands-on and in person. So it'll be kind of a fun, different take on the permaculture education this year that
Yeah.
I'm excited for.
Yeah, and that's going to be really, really good because we've been getting a lot of reach outs since we started our permaculture, our PDC, because we ourselves don't want to be partial. We like to say that it's wonderful, but we have gotten a tremendous amount of feedback from it because people really feel that once they leave our PDC, they're able to oftentimes they've been doing bits and pieces of all of this, and it gives them a way of putting everything together, or really feeling more confident that they have the tools to be able to do certain things because, they're experiential and hands-on. Um, but the nice thing about this online opportunity, it gives those who may not be more local some experience and exposure to what we have to offer. And then it also, if people are just interested in maybe initially taking certain classes, because the classes are developed so that they're more standalone, but they will be actually also part of the PDC, so people can use them for PDC credits, you know, depending on what their path is. Um, and we're going to have, a lane that's going to be herbalism at some point. We had do some little things on our YouTube channel every once in a while about learning about the herbs and the IWC homestead, and we're going to be doing more of that. But we will actually be offering some herbalism class. You and I have been investing a great deal of time in our herbalism studies over the last number of years. So I know we're both excited about doing some of those types of courses and digging in, probably within the next year or so. And it probably actually eventually even offering some type of certification program on the herbalism side as well. So, again, it's just like the foundation has been put in place for us to do all this really cool stuff. And, the chickens and ducks are coming this year. Um, we're going to really activate our, no pun intended, our composting and soils management program this year. Um, and we've got a really good solid volunteer team this year. Some folks who were here with us in the very, very beginning of this process have come back around again, and they've gone off and they've gained additional knowledge around things, but they've cycled back here to IWC, and some existing ones that have been with us. So I'm excited about that. We're both excited. And there have been so many hands or people raising their hands this year that said, I want to help. I want to help. So it's always been our intent, with everything we do to try to, you know, keep this community thing going, right? You know, all the little ones up to the old ones, because the older ones have that ancestral knowledge, and even some of the younger ones have the ancestral knowledge, and it's just synergies, of co-creation and remembrance, right? Um,
Not
and
to
I get,
mention not
Yeah,
to mention how they can just feed on each other when they're together. When
yeah.
I'm remembering the cohort, the PDC cohort from last year, it's like when
Hmm.
they're together individually, they're each great and so
Hmm.
wise in their own ways. But when they're
Hmm.
together, it's just like
It's
ideas
magic.
bounce and it, yeah,
It's magic.
expand each other to the,
And we've seen it with each one,
yeah.
right? And then the other thing to observe is how they go off and they create all their own magic. You know, all these folks are doing awesome, some incredible work out there in the community. You know, and that's what it's all about. You know, and it's like this flower of life that keeps expanding and expanding and expanding, and that's the energy that's been created here. You know, it's, you know, to try to welcome people, to offer, to, you know, have this reciprocity going, and it's just joyful happiness. That's the best way that I can, you know, I can describe it. And what has that joyful happiness more recently led us to, Gabby? You want to talk about that?
Well, can we share already?
Yes, we should share. We should share.
A wonderful opportunity to expand into a new space,
Mhm,
a
mhm,
whole other acre of land to play
mhm, mhm.
with.
Yes, yes. Now, just so everybody realizes, because, you know, there are folks that haven't been here.
Mhm.
And even though we all have nice descriptors on our website, we know folks don't always, uh, you know, realize what we're working with. But our space is slightly over an acre. And when folks come here and they see, you know, the couple hundred fruit, nut, and berry trees that we have, and the medicinal gardens and the pollinator gardens, and all this ponds back there, and all this stuff going on, they're just like, how did all this happen? You know, how did you put all this in here? Da, 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 da. That's permaculture indigenous practices. This is what we are trying to share with everyone. So just imagine having access to another space that is at least as large as ours is that we have right now, right? What the capacity, the co-creativity of everything, and and being able to be stewards of that space with an owner who has a gracious heart. So I'm just blown away by it, because, you know, I probably less than, I guess it was less than 2 weeks before all this happened. You know, I tapped on my big brother Hendrick's shoulder and said, "Big brother, you know," I said, we kind of are busting out the seams here, not like we don't have space, but energetically, you know, I'm looking at, you know, we may want to look for, you know, maybe somewhere around up to a quarter of an acre would be more than enough, more than enough, because of what we know how to do within those spaces. And lo and behold, the universe was already creating this doorway. It was already aligning us with someone. It was already aligning us with the space. And I was just so overwhelmed. It was like somebody was toppling me over. I'm much better today than I was a couple days ago. But
So
it's
fast.
it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And it's like a template.
Yeah. And we
Mm.
have support on hand, like you said, new urban farm managers to
Yes, we are to have two urban
farmers.
farm, female urban farm managers on the space. One is the Washington Campbell, the husband and wife. They're going to be on and part of it. Jerry Barber, who was the former owner of, or former overseer director of Bellevue Farm. She does a lot with community partnerships with Delaware Nature Society right now and some other organizations. But they're going to both have their own farming space as part of this on here too. We're going to share that with them. And so, and we will have a lot of volunteers from the community. Delaware State University wants to uh, be in partnership with us. DCH wants to be in partnership with us for the Branches to Chances program. We already have an existing community relationship with Goldie Beacon College with their students. We are going to have the internship program for the database management. So we're going to be opening that up again. So again, the community energy of this is just, trying to keep it open for people to, when they come and they show up, they just show up and they're joyful. We're in our planning stage for the season right now where we're getting things ready, plants potted, up potted, propagated, beds in, some of the maintenance done. And all the help has been just coming, you
And
know?
only 1 month into 2025, and all this has
Yeah,
already
yes,
co-created. It's so wonderful.
yes, it is. I mean, this is like, it's just amazing. So we are, we're getting ourselves lined up for what's coming. Um, Gabby, did you want to talk a little bit about what's on the docket for this year?
Yeah. So we've started touching on it a little bit, but we're also opening up, piloting our CSA program for the first time, which is also a seed that we've been planting for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which also I wanted to touch on the IWC medicinals and honey and how we've expanded. We're in the community now. We're at so between the honeys, the elderberry infusions, the fire ciders, the tea blends, the all the different infused honeys and everything, we are at Perfect Cup Cafe in Hockessin,
Mm-hmm.
Stone Mill Pizza in Pike Creek, and Soybean Asian Grill in Pike Creek.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure more to come.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that
And
will be part of our CSA program. So in addition to seasonal produce from the urban farm and seeds and berries and um, plants and propagated, just so much goodness. Everything that
mm-hmm.
we've cultivated over the years are going to be part of this specialty CSA program starting in April of this year. We already have a form out for those who are interested. You can find that on our website and on our Beacons link. And yeah, that's one of the big things coming this
Mm-hmm.
year.
Yeah. And what we had envisioned, which is, I think, contributes to the energy of all this, is we envisioned growing things in a space, being able to harvest those things, being able to offer those plants to people so that they could then grow them, being able to collect the seeds so that people could not only experience the full cycle of things, but that if they received some type of medicine that we made, whether it was elderberry, infusion, whether it was hot sauce, whether it was some type of salve or tea, they could go out in our foods forest and see where all of those things were being gathered from, right? Because oftentimes, just because of, maybe you may have like different herbalists or whomever plants people who don't have the access to necessarily be able to grow all the things that they're using in their different medicines and things. And they may be having to source, but they're sourcing it from really good places that are possibly doing some of the same things that we are. And we actually have had other herbalists reaching out to us to get obtain some of the plants and seeds and things that we have to help support some of the medicines that they are making. So, this is kind of becomes part of the whole education cycle that if you want to see where your elderberry plant came from, we can go out and introduce you to Mother Elderberry. If you want to see the elderberry going from producing these beautiful flowers, which are the flowers that we use within our elderflower syrup, among many other medicines, and then see the berries that come on after that, you get a chance to see all that, right? Which is, I think, is the coolest thing in the world,
It
you
really,
know?
yeah.
So that contributes to all the energy. So our whole big thing, and we are getting into sourcing from others within the community who are doing similar things to us. For instance, we are sourcing cacao products, something that we can't necessarily grow here, but we have a partner who actually is based out of Trinidad and comes back and forth here, and she and her husband have a cacao food forest there, and she's a plants person, herbal ethnobotanist, and all that other happy stuff. So we know what we're getting. If we decide that we are going to be sourcing certain things from other partners, we want to make sure that they are aligning their processing of how they are sourcing, harvesting, growing, similar to us. Going into this year, we're also going to have another partnership with one of the urban farmers who are going to be within our new space, sharing space, and we're going to be sourcing their soursop juice through our market medicinal nurseries. So we're excited about that. And once again, you know, these are folks who are doing similar things, right? So whenever we choose to go outside of the network of what we're creating here, which we have the capacity to create so many things. That's why I can't wait until I finish my PhD this year, Gabby, so I can just have more space, and then you'll be doing some of that stuff too. So it's just yeah, it's what has been built here as a foundation allows us to do so much, and it's really um going to be quite quite amazing probably what happens this year now with the having the additional space. And we're already pretty much, like I said, we're going to be using a permaculture style within that space. We do intend to take some beehives up there on that space, so it's an opportunity for us to expand our um, apiary as well, and we'll probably have one or two hives up there initially. Um, we are going to create some polyculture, fruit, nut, and berry spaces up there. So we'll be growing that, and we'll, of course, creating a pollinator garden and a meadow space, that will help support the bees, because we want them to make sure that they have some things that they can be drawn to. So this is, when I stop to think about it, Gabby, and our journey here, this food forest is really about 15 or 16 years old out of the 20 some years, because that's really about when the planting first started. So 15 or 16 years, this space has been cultivated. It was an open template, just like this new space. But what people don't realize is most of what's here has probably been cultivated within the last 6 to 7 years. Right. So, you know, who knows what's going to happen in this new space.
Yeah, and you just gave me the idea that this new space can serve as such a great educational piece.
Absolutely.
Well, we can record a lot of what we're doing on video and
Mm-hmm.
see it happening from firsthand. Maybe we'll have a
Yeah.
video series online or make it into one of our courses or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will also use it as an extended site for all of our education programs.
Oh, yeah,
You know, this
absolutely.
is something that we talked to the owner about, and she is so open and supportive to that because she was a teacher,
Oh,
right? Among her being a homesteader, yoga teacher, um, you know, she's wild crafter, you
uh-huh.
know, food preserver, you know, farmer, homesteader, you know, she's done all these things. And so when she heard and saw how much education we're doing and how it's so community based, that was really just opened up her heart space to allowing us the opportunity. So it's kind of interesting, you know, we have all these wonderful sites from the collaborators that are supporting our PDC. So we will actually yet have another site that all these wonderful things can happen and help support from an educational standpoint. You know, because to your point, there's going to be like a lot of projects that will happen along the way as this space is being cultivated. So the idea would be like for this first year, so it can be useful for growing purposes, that will be the first thing that we would focus on because we can put in some beds and things for growing. And then as those are getting established, then we would start working on some of the other portions and elements of it. But it's, yeah, it's just such a, it's a wonderful opportunity. It, it's
Absolutely.
it's it's more it's more and more difficult to come by any land in any form, and most of the urban farmers out there are leasing land that it's very how should I say it? They have to really be in the moment of it, you know. Um, and I think that we have such a tremendous opportunity and being in the moment of it and knowing that it can be infinite at the same time is just wonderful. So it's not something that again we didn't plan that this was going to happen, but it's really changed the trajectory around things and what we're gonna and the timing of it is really great too because it's off of a PDC season,
Right.
which means that when we go into our PDC season next year, we'll be able to utilize that space for our PDC, which will be wonderful.
Yeah. We'll have the time to devote to the prep this year, and then next year
Yeah,
can be on the grounds with the cohort and doing more projects and stuff. That's
yeah,
really,
absolutely.
really cool. Wow. Such a beautiful serendipitous
Hmm.
gift.
Yeah. So we're, you know, and then of course you already mentioned we are going to have our festival this year. We have something new happening with our now we have our community volunteer days every weekend. However, we will be having our monthly market and nursery, which we rolled that out last year, and that went very well for the first year, you know, with plant sales. And we don't really push our stuff out there. We put our stuff out there through our social media platforms, newsletters, Facebook posting, and trying to build the awareness that we have these things going on, and people just jump in, you know, and people are knocking at the door right now like, when are you going to open, you know, when's your okay. So our grand opening day is Earth Day in April. This is when the center opens again.
Mhm.
And we will be having I'll let you talk a little bit about Earth Day, but we'll be having the monthly markets.
Mhm.
Um, and then we will also be having quarterly vendor companion markets. So on a quarterly basis, we're inviting vendors to come in and sell their sustainable wares with us, right? It's an opportunity. We have no table fee. This is reciprocity, sharing, new economy, and if the vendors choose to want to share something back with the center because they just had such a fabulous day, that's their choice. But the benefit of that is giving their goods and products more exposure, letting the community know what's out there, and just sharing in the time. All right, so we're going to have three of those, and then we go into our big event in October. So that's going to be the change in what we do that way this year, which I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Me too. It's going to be fun too. This was an idea kind of playing off of how wonderfully our open house went and just fall festivals in the past in general, bringing together vendors and collaborators and having activities and seed plantings and things like that. To once a quarter, bring together all these people for a little bit of a bigger event. And then for the months in between, it's a monthly market, a little more lower scale, not a vendor market, but still an opportunity to come on the land and purchase from what we're growing. And yeah, it's going to be really exciting. So I'm excited for the kickoff, which like you said, is Earth Day, Saturday, April 19th. And that will be bringing together the vendors, collaborators. We'll be doing Three Sisters planting demonstrations, seed sowing, the grand opening of our medicine wheel. And as always, it'll be a potluck, drum circle at the end, and just a great opportunity to welcome the community back for the opening up of the season and just honoring Mother Earth and getting excited for the warm season ahead. And then we'll have a summer solstice event later in June, I believe. I forget the exact date for that one, but similar kinds of energy, but with activities related more to the summer than the spring. And yeah, we'll put all that information in our newsletters and on our website as well. So you can always check that out and plan to be at one of those community events this year. We always love to see new faces.
Yeah. And then, of course, this podcast we have here where we're kind of doing this like little roll into the season and kickoff for the season. We have some new folks lined up who have been doing a lot of good work out in the community, and we're going to have a chance to talk with them. So we're excited about that. And if you haven't had an opportunity to listen to any of our previous conversations, I really encourage you to go out there and give a listen. Especially, I mean, I've been re-listening to each of the episodes over the past couple weeks, and it's amazing to me that, of course, when we did the podcast with those individual folks, how relevant their conversations were at that time, but they're even more relevant right now. And I think that because of where people are and what's going on the planet right now, um, these conversations are really going to resonate in your heart space. And if anything, they'll remind everybody how very wonderful and fabulous and strong and powerful that we are all as beings and what we really have inside of us. And so I just really, every time I listen to one of the episodes, I hear something that I didn't hear before. And because there's so many layers within each of those conversations. So really encourage you to go out there and give a listen to those. We are going to be putting more things on our YouTube channel also, as Gabby mentioned, different videos around different things. We want to put some more information around the herbalism component of things, some of our workshops. We are going to be revamping our little introduction video now. We have Mateo is going to be working on that project this year because we've got so much that has grown here and expanded. And we just want to update those pictures and get that stuff out there. Gabby's been putting updated pictures out there. We have new partners out there on our resource page. So I encourage you all, anything that we've done here, we've done them with the partners that we have on our resource page, whether they be buying seeds, whether they be getting materials for our greenhouse, whether they be getting plants, trees, all of those resources are on our page. I had someone reach out to me the other day and said, where other than when you guys are propagating, where do you get your original plants from? And I said, you can go to our resource page, and every single one of those folks are listed out there. So we generally put folks on our page who are reflective of, the different organizations and businesses and things and practitioners and educators that we've had some relationship with, because we kind of feel that there's aspects of what they're doing that are aligning with the center. Um, and we have like a lot of affiliate relationships with different organizations relative to sitting on boards and affiliations, relative to the Urban Food and Farm Coalition, the Permaculture Institute of North America, Delaware Nature Society, and the Mid-Atlantic Black Farmers Caucus. So we're in it. We're in it, and our hearts are totally in it. Anything that we can do to help facilitate this continuous growth expansion and pulling in everyone to help them and support them the best way that we can, and learning something from them and getting supported in the process as well. So
Beautifully said. It's shaping up to be such an incredible year, and we're just really excited to be sharing it all with you all, and thank you all for being a part of this journey with us. We can't wait for what's ahead.
Thanks for joining us at State of Consciousness Podcast. We hope you enjoyed spending time with us and look forward to the next time. Until then, if you'd like to stay connected, you can feel free to reach out to us via our website at www.InnerSourceWellnessCenter.com. There you will find links to our podcasts, our Facebook page, and our YouTube channel, as well as our mailing list. Stay connected, stay positive. Namaste.